All right, welcome to Pro Football. First 50 years, where we take the past and we bring it back to life. Now, I'm strictly talking the first 50 years here, from 1920 to 1970. Now, you can go online, and especially if you're going back to like the games from the 20s and the 30s, yeah, I mean, you can find obviously the box score, who won, who scored a touchdown, maybe how far a field goal was somebody kicked. What the attendance was, where the game was played at, what stadium, maybe even starting lineups for each team. But exactly what happened during the game? Well, thanks to old newspaper articles, we get to take a little bit of a deeper dive into each and every game during the first 50 years of professional football. A little news flash here for you. Ain't no fancy videos or nothing like that going on here. All there is you and me for the next 30 to 60 minutes. So that's all right with you. Let's get it on. And today's game, the exhibition game, two very disappointing teams during this season. The Washington Redskins, because they were called the Redskins back then. I do apologize if I offend anybody by saying Redskins. At the Los Angeles Rams at the Memorial Coliseum, August 21st, 1959. I'll tell you what, I'm going to show you one of these pictures. It was just like a sea of people. It was absolutely amazing how many people saw this game. I mean, truthfully. You couldn't tell the people at the Coliseum this particular night that both these teams were going to really be pretty bad. The Redskins hadn't been good for a while. The last championship they were in was in 45. They lost to the Cleveland Rams. Actually, the game was played in Cleveland. That was the last game that the Rams ever played in Cleveland. The Rams won 15-14. That was, I said, 1945. This is 1959. So 45 to 59 was just slim pickings for the Redskins. Not doing so well, and they'd have to wait another decade until the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Vince Lombardi showed up in 1969. Made him a winner. They were 7-5-2. 1970, they went down. Had a good offense. Their defense was not so good. They were 6-8. But 1971, as I said, they had that offense, but then it came a defensive-minded coach with Mr. George Allen. I lick my thumbs. I don't know what that does, but on the sideline, your coach, I think I lick your thumbs like George Allen did. But there was no denying the guy was a good coach. So, Redskins would have to wait another decade. But speaking of George Allen, it's kind of like also like with the Rams, how the mighty had fallen. The Rams had 1949, 1950, 1951, 1955, 1945. So from 45 to 55, those 11 seasons, they were in 5 championship games. But this is 1959, and between these two teams, I believe they won a grand total of 5 games for the whole season. And they only played 12 games, each. But Redskins won 3, and actually the Redskins, oddly, just goes to show you on any given Sunday, actually beat the Baltimore Colts. So during the regular season, it was only one of 3 losses that the Colts had. But anyway, the Rams, this was rather a disappointing season for them, especially for Sid Gilman, phenomenal coach. This would be his last season with the Rams, but he would take up residency in the AFL and have a phenomenal coaching career in the AFL with the Chargers. It was the Los Angeles Chargers in 1960, the San Diego Chargers from 61 to 69. But speaking of the Rams, they would have a tough time until Mr. George Allen would come around and coach for them, and he would whip them around. So I mean, wherever George Allen went, he was very, very good. I believe it was 1966 to 1970. He was the coach of the Rams, and after 70, he went to the Redskins. But I mean, from basically from 66, I think it was with the Redskins till 77. So from 66 to 77, he did not have a losing season. And, to go to show you, he took two teams that had losing records the year before and made them perennial winners. So, I'm not quite sure why he's licking his fingers. Why? I'm sorry, his thumbs on the sideline. No idea, but there's no denying the man could coach. So let's show you here. Go over the two teams' schedules here, and you're not going to, you ain't going to see many W's. I can tell you that on either one here. All right, here's the Redskins. Mike Nixon. Yeah, this was not a banner season for him coaching wise. As you can see here, the W's are slim pickings, and this even includes the exhibition. With the Redskins, they had one win in the exhibition, and then they beat the Steelers, they beat the Cardinals, and here they beat the one. It just goes to show you, any given Sunday, the 3-9 Redskins wind up beating the 9-3 Baltimore Colts. So, but you can just see just a lot of L's. A lot of L's. I mean, a lot in common. I mean, the Redskins really didn't have much of anything going for them. I mean, you can see they gave up 50 points here, 50, 49, 27, 34, 30, 24, 31, 45, 35. Yeah, their defense was not very good. But then you got 10 points, 14, 14, 0, 17, 7, 6. I mean, their offense wasn't that great either. So they did not have much of anything going for them. The Rams, on the other hand, is, once again, you won't see many W's here either. Although, what did they have? Although they were, actually, they're 3-2-1 in the exhibition season, as we see here. I mean, there's actually a couple teams in 1959 actually played 7 preseason games. I mean, that is just absolutely crazy. Absolutely crazy. I mean, when I grew up, it was 6. When I was first started watching, I mean, there was 6, and that's a bit too much. 6, but anyway. But I do apologize. They actually won 3 preseason games. They tied 1. They lost 2. Lost 2 real close ones. They lost to these Redskins, and then they lost to the Browns. But once again, that was just exhibition. But you'll see here. I mean, once the season started here, well, there you go. Well, we got 2 wins. They were 2-2 at one point. They beat the Bears on the road. They killed the Packers. They were winning 14-6 in this game at halftime against the Packers, and then they scored 31 points in the second half and just blew the doors off the Packers. Both of their wins were on the road. The Rams did not regular season did not win a regular season home game all year in 1959. So just bad overall. Now, this would wind up being a very interesting game, as you got right here, right? The Redskins will win 23-21. But as you see here, I mean, this is just crazy. I mean, look here. Look at the attendance for this game. 88, almost 80. I'm sorry, 88. I'm saying, look at all these 8s. 85,888. Almost 86,000 people in the Coliseum for this exhibition game. There wasn't one other game. The only other game that the Rams played that had more people in it during the whole season was when they played the 49ers here. Over 94,000 people were in the Memorial Coliseum. I mean, that's a big game. They got the 49ers and the Rams. Huge game. But you'll see here, this exhibition game, 85,000, almost 86,000. There was no other game that had more than that except for this 49er game right here. I mean, it's crazy. I'm going to show you a picture of what it looked like. I mean, it was just, wow. I mean, you couldn't tell those people in the stands that this was a meaningless game. But let's go over the Memorial Coliseum here. I mean, just it's one of those, just because I'm an old time fart, and I just love the old time stadiums. Obviously, if the football is played outdoors, in the elements. Not that there's really any elements in the memorial other than sun, but it's played outdoors on grass. 2 thumbs up. You got me. And it's a Coliseum. Oh man, I mean, they played. The Dodgers played baseball there. I think it said in Wikipedia, which you're going to go over in just a second, 2028, when they play because they just played the Winter Olympics. When they play the Summer Olympics in 2028, that'll be the 3rd time that the LA Coliseum hosted the Summer Olympics. I mean, just a ton of things went on there. And the beautiful thing about it, it's been around for a long time, and it's still there. They didn't knock it down. All right, share screen. What we had here? All right, Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, Wikipedia. Multi-purpose stadium in the Exposition Park neighborhood of Los Angeles. The Coliseum was commissioned in 1921 as a memorial to Los Angeles veterans of World War I. Outstanding. I love that. Anytime you can, tip your cap or anything at all, show respect and anything to the veterans, men and women, all for it, man. It was completed in 1923. It will become the first stadium to have hosted the Summer Olympics 3 times when it hosted 2028 Summer Olympics. So, I mean, it's been around for obviously a long, long time. It was designated as a National Historic Landmark on July 27, 1984, a day before the opening ceremony of the 84 Olympics. Obviously, the Trojans played there. Yeah, this is the Coliseum under construction in 1922. The Coliseum in 1923. I mean, just obviously just a straight up ball, but it's just the outside of it, and it's fantastic. It was designed. The original ball's initial construction costs were just a bit under $1 million. When the Coliseum opened in 1923, it was the largest stadium in Los Angeles with a capacity of a little over 75,000. In 1930, however, with the Olympics due in 2 years, the stadium was extended upward to 79 rows of seats with 2 tiers of tunnels, expanding the seating capacity to 101,574. The physical structure of a bowl-shaped configuration for the Coliseum was undoubtedly inspired by the earlier Yale Bowl, which was built in 1914. Let's see, it had renovations. The Coliseum was capable of seating over 100,000 spectators. All kinds of things, but I mean, October 6th, 1923, Pomona. Pomona played USC, wherever that is. Is this it right here? There you go. I'm not sure which one's Pomona and which one is USA, but this is the inaugural game. Pomona. Never heard of them. From 28 to 81, UCLA also played their home games at the Coliseum. 1932, the Coliseum hosted the Summer Olympics. The Cleveland Rams moved to the Coliseum in 1946 after 45. So, I mean, obviously they weren't the Cleveland Rams once they moved to Los Angeles. The Brooklyn, let's see. Among other sporting events, the Coliseum over the years, Major League Baseball, which were held when the Brooklyn Dodgers moved to the West Coast in 1958. The Dodgers played there from 58 to 61. I'm going to show you. I mean, just right here. This is just a configuration. It was 251 feet down the line. I mean, just crazy. 300 feet out here, 420 feet the straightaway, but it's 320 feet to the alley. I mean, you get a pop fly and it goes out over here. I mean, that's crazy. There, here's, Here's the Coliseum during the 1959 World Series between the Dodgers and the White Sox. Look how close this is right here. It's ridiculous. There we go. This would be the first ever Super Bowl. Got the Chiefs and the Packers. So let's go show you some pictures here. I know some of the pictures I got here show quite a bit of the baseball, the way it's situated. Is it? Okay, here we go. The baseball field. This is crazy. I mean, look, it's just like a fence running across out here. I'm not sure why the fence wasn't like out over here. I don't know why the fence didn't start here and go out here. I don't know why they started it here. Who the heck knows? Why they come over here? Why the fence didn't come over here and just go over here and come out a little more, even. I have no idea. Absolutely no idea. Why the fence didn't maybe come way out over here? Who knows? No idea. But it's just a fence. As you can see here. Now, well, let's say now. Can you see it? I'm not sure what's going on here, but here's the let's see here. Oh, yeah. Now, can you see the fence here? Right, there's the fence. I gotta lose it over here. I'm not sure exactly where it's going. But all this is like dead area out here. So you got these people, so this is like 400 and whatever center field, like 420 feet straight away out over here. But then you got these people way over here, or even way here. I mean, geez, look how far away they are. But they used to pack them in. Here, I'm not sure, I see there's the fence right here. They put a fence. There's the foul ball, but I'm not sure, what this is, but I think something, I'm not sure. Yeah, they got this just a fence right out there. Just odd. But I'm saying, but as you can see here, look at this. This is just bananas for a baseball game. Holy cow! They said you got people way out over here, way out over here, and the fence is right here, and they're way out over there. And they go to the game. There's another guy here eating some ice cream. Right, during another baseball game, but we got some. Just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. You know what I mean? You walk up and you see this or this. Wow, absolutely freaking beautiful. Look at that, huh? Look at that. Wow, beautiful. Just unbelievable. You got it. This. There you go. This is the 1959 season, so we're talking about this. So since the Rams were home, obviously the Lions won this game because the Rams did not win a game at home during the regular season all year long. But to see some color photos from 1959, I'm not sure if he hurt his wrist here. That's why he's holding it, walking off. Great shots here. Look at this. Yeah, this is not 1959. There's the Packers. You obviously Bart Starr, Jim Taylor, but you got they got a logo on the side of their helmet. So the logo for the Packers didn't start till 1961. We got here Ollie Matson. This is 1959. Here we go. Oh. This is in Milwaukee, though. Okay, so we don't want to see this. There we go. Crazy Legs, Elroy Hirsch. There you go. Sign them up. There you go. Start them young. LA Coliseum, 1959 or 1960. Sign them up. Sign them up young. First NFL title game played on the West Coast. December 18th, 1949. Well, between the Eagles and the Rams, 1949, and the Eagles would win 14-0. Eagles back-to-back shutouts. 1948, they shut out the Cardinals at Shibe Park in a frickin' blizzard. And in 1949, they came out and they played the Rams and they won 14-0. So they had back-to-back shutouts. I mean, just absolutely beautiful. Yeah, I mean, this scoreboard is very iconic. Just absolutely beautiful. Once again, it's just an odd fence. Yeah. Didn't read enough into it, I guess, to figure out why it started here, why it's not back over here, and you know, I mean, but it is what it is. But I mean, it's just a beautiful sight, absolutely beautiful sight. Yeah, with the scoreboard and everything. All right, so this is exhibition game, but we got a couple good articles here. So let's start it off with the Washington D.C. paper. All right, we're going to go to the August 22nd, 1959 edition of the Evening Star. I got to go back a page. I think one page. Yep. But Eddie LeBaron had himself a good game. Fullback Johnny Olszewski of the Redskins drives through for 2 yards and the first of his 2 second-quarter touchdowns against the Rams. Later in the quarter, Johnny O scored from the 1 yard out to help the Redskins upset the Rams 23-21 before a crowd of 85,888. That's the one thing is with these nighttime games is that back then, as I've seen any picture I've seen, if it's a nighttime game, you know, they get the flash going. You see the players. You don't see anything else. It looks like they're playing in complete darkness. Really. All right, LeBaron gets lots of help as the Redskins edge the Rams. Olszewski, James star in a 23-21 win before 85,888. By the slender but sufficient margin of a safety, the Redskins chalked up a 23-21 victory over the Rams before a Glum, my bad, Glum crowd of 85,888 in the Coliseum here last night. The squad will fly home today, arriving at approximately 7:30 p.m. You see the Redskins had a lot of first down. The Rams only had 16, but I mean, look at the Rams. The Redskins, 207 yards rushing, 264 yards passing. The Redskins will arrive at 7:30 p.m. at National Airport to get ready for next Friday's game with the champion Colts in Baltimore. The Colts' crushing defeat of the Giants last night indicated that this will be a far sterner test than either last night's game or the debut in San Francisco. Colts beat it's just exhibition, but the Colts beat the Giants. I think it was 28-3 in an exhibition game. Once again, Eddie LeBaron's quarterbacking and passing spearheaded the Redskins offense, but Eddie had assists from Dick James and Johnny Olszewski in the ball-carrying department and from a half dozen receivers. His teammates also gave LeBaron the best protection he's had in quite a while, although the little guy took innumerable chances by waiting until the last second to throw the ball. Twice, to the surprise of everybody, he ran with it, picking up 16 yards. His second run, good for 8 yards to the Rams' 6-yard line in the final period, set up the pass to James for what proved to be the winning touchdown. The big play capping a 67-yard advance was a spur-of-the-moment bit of strategy made up by LeBaron when a running play fouled up. From the stands, it appeared to be a well-executed bit of trickery. LeBaron went to his left, dodged Sam Williams, then seeing James duck behind Joe Kelly, lobbed the ball to him in the end zone. The Rams came back to score their third and final touchdown after that, but their goose was cooked. LeBaron, James, Olszewski, and Jim Podolny made sure there would be no repetition of the San Francisco incident, meaning the 49ers won that game in the last minute. Came back and beat the Redskins in the last minute of the exhibition game that the Redskins played the week before. Actually, it was only 5 days prior. This game here is being played on a Friday night. When they played the 49ers, they played them on the 16th, which was a Sunday. This is the 21st. So they played 5 days later. 49er touchdown in the last 9 seconds cost them a 27-24 defeat in that one. We wanted to win this one for Mike, Olszewski said, expressing the sentiments of the entire squad, which jubilantly hoisted Nixon to its shoulders and carried him off the field. But even though he wanted to win badly, Nixon took a couple of gambles that might have proved disastrous. Twice he elected to try for touchdowns rather than take 3 points on field goals. The first time at the end of the half and again at the third quarter when a 64-yard drive bogged down on the Los Angeles 1-yard line. This was a preseason game, Mike explained. I know that Sam Baker can kick 5-yard field goals, which is, well, it's not a 5-yard, but it would have been an 8-yard field goal. But I didn't know whether our offense could punch it over from there. We had to find out. Well, that's the thing. I mean, it's a preseason game. That's what it's there for, to find things out. I mean, not to worry about kicking an 8-yard field goal. If you're down at the 1-yard line in a preseason game, you go for it. Mike was pleased by the win, but soberly noted that we've got a lot of work to do. By contrast, the Rams group of speedsters didn't fare as well as the Redskins. Ollie Matson, who cost Los Angeles 9 players in the deal with the Cardinals, was held to just 32 yards on 7 carries. John Arnett got 54 and Tom Wilson 52 on similar number of carries. But thanks to excellent defensive work by Ralph Felton, Richie McCabe. All right, let's go to the next page. All right, here we go. Ben, Scotty, and James, they failed to go all the way. Bill Wade didn't have a bad night passing, completing 11 of 14 throws. Oh, that's pretty good for 170 yards and 1 touchdown. But 2 long scoring passes, the first a sensational catch by Del Schaffner, was nullified by penalties. It was touch and go on a few more that just missed. Nixon and his aides were concerned about the Rams' speed. A single error would have been enough to let Matson, Wilson, or Arnett go the distance and probably break the game wide open. Several times they seemed on the verge of doing it, but a Redskin always popped up at the right moment. Chet Ostrovsky and rookie Art Gobb of Pittsburgh made a couple of key tackles in the first period. McCabe turned in several good ones in the second quarter. In this same period, Scotty, the ex-Maryland star, spilled Matson as Ollie was about to break into the clear. 2 plays later, Ben hit Big Lamar Lundy hard enough to jar a pass loose from him. Scotty grabbed it for the lone interception charged against Wade. Felton, Jim Weatherall, Laverne Torgerson, Doyle, Nix, and Scotty again turned in more sparkling defensive plays in the third period. In the fourth, it was John Pluck, James, Nix, and Felton again who balked the Rams' offense. Felton nailed Arnett in the end zone after John took a pass from Wade to put the first 2 points on the board. Yes, you can see right here, right? It was 23-21. The Rams scored 3 touchdowns, 1, 2, 3. The Redskins scored 3 touchdowns, 1, 2, and 3. The difference was 2 points. That safety that just happened right there. That was it. This was it. Felton nailed Arnett in the end zone. That was the difference in the game. 2 points. After John took a pass from Wade to put the first 2 points on the board, a punt and a 5-yard penalty had backed the Rams up on their own 5-yard line. Arnett fumbled when hit, and at first it appeared that it would be ruled an incomplete pass. But referee Emil Hines said Arnett fumbled after being hit. An interception by Don Burrows, the only one charged to LeBaron, interrupted a Redskin advance on the LA 21-yard line and started the Rams on a 79-yard drive for the game's first touchdown. A 42-yard throw from Wade to Schaffner, who got away from Tchaikovsky, accounted for the score. The Redskins countered with the 79-yard march featuring the running of Olszewski and LeBaron's passes to Joe Walton and Johnny Carson. No relationship. Johnny O went over from the 2-yard line behind Bill Winfrow's blocking. The Rams offset this with an 83-yard foray, culminated by Arnett's 14-yard run. But again, the Redskins got rolling, and with LeBaron hitting Walton and Carson on crucial passes and Johnny O busting through the line, went 80 yards to the goal line. Olszewski dove over middle for the score from a yard out. Scotty's interception gave the Redskins a chance for another score near the end of the half, but a 5-yard penalty threw them back to the 7-yard line, and 2 passes intended for Podoley and Carson were broken up before the half ended. Washington's final score was touched off late in the third quarter after Felton had smeared Wade for an 11-yard loss. Forcing the Rams to punt, a 39-yard pass to Walton was the big play, with Joe outfoxing Jack Morris to plant the ball on the Rams' 19. Los Angeles, battling like fury, got one more score after a punt by Baker almost was returned all the way by Clendon Thomas. The speedy Oklahoman was threading his way through a broken field when Scotty tackled him from behind on the Redskin 45. Wade passed 31 yards to Jim Phillips, and 3 plays later vaulted over center for the last 12 inches. All right, so that was that. Now here we got the good old Los Angeles Times. This picture is just wow. It's kind of like very impressive, but also it kind of gets lost too, because I'll show you, because it just, once again, it's in the dark. All right, so let's go to the August 22nd, 1959 edition of the Los Angeles Times. I mean, just, you can just see all the people. I mean, just, people over here, just, just packed. It's crazy, but I mean, well, once again, over here, I'm assuming maybe, I guess, the scoreboard is down here. I mean, once again, it's like, it's just seemingly, you get a picture and you see something, but it always seems like there's just like a lot of darkness around, where you just can't see back over here. But Los Angeles Rams and the Washington Redskins kicked off the annual Times Charities football game at the Coliseum as a mammoth crowd of 85,888 look on. So it's a Times Charities football game. So that's quite possibly why there was almost 86,000 people there. A charity game. So, oops. All right. Rams lose to the Redskins. Underdogs win 23-21 in Times charity game. So that's very, very impressive. How almost 86,000 people showed up for charity. So that's absolutely fantastic. Eddie LeBaron, a sapling in a forest of football giants. He's like 5'7", 5'8", but I've heard he's even shorter than that. But I mean, like nowadays, like they want the quarterbacks to be 6'3", 6'4", 6'5". I mean, Eddie LeBaron, you did very well with a lot less talent. I mean, he played with the Redskins, but he was the Dallas Cowboys' first ever quarterback, and he played very well with not a lot of talent. Especially his size too. I mean, being like 5'7". I mean, you can imagine if he was like, say, 6 or 7 inches taller, and he actually maybe behind the line of scrimmage could actually look over the line of scrimmage a little bit and see downfield. I mean, it was not easy for him. An amazed throng of 85,888 sat in on this 14th meeting between the two teams in the annual Times Charity Classic. So that's good. But if they came expecting to see their home club dominate the scene on the field below, they let themselves in for a horrible disappointment. To put it bluntly, the Rams, with reinforcements like Ali Madsen and Gene Brito, fell far short of the club many here have claimed will go on to bring Los Angeles its first NFL title since 1951. And when they beat the 24-17, I believe it was, when they beat the Browns. Only in the matter of scoring touchdowns were the Rams equal to the Redskins. In all other statistics, Coach Mike Nixon's Warriors played a dominant role. The margin of victory was a safety which the Rams gave up the first time they attempted to move the ball. Bill Wade, who went the route at quarterback, I mean, it's like just the second preseason game. Their starting quarterback, played the whole game. Bill Wade, who went the route at quarterback for Coach Sid Gilman's crew, started his first drive back on his own 5. He threw a short pass behind the line to John Arnett. The latter was belted by Ralph Felton while still in the end zone. He fumbled, but officials ruled that the Ram halfback held the ball long enough to claim possession. So all it wound up with the Rams 2 points in the hole before they had even got one play underway. Let's get back to this. All right, so let's see here. What do we got here? Page 1, maybe page 11? Would that be right? Nope. My bad. All right. Here we go. Here's Danny Olszewski charges over the goal line for a touchdown. One of 2 he scored. Once again, you can see the players, the ref here, but like in the back, it's just like complete darkness. Professional Pee-wee, the 5'7" Eddie LeBaron, who weighs only 165 pounds, the shortest and lightest man in the NFL, playing it cool and with his uniform nearly as spotless at the finish as at the start. He personally passed for 1 touchdown and engineered 2 others. For the evening, LeBaron, who expects to call it quits after this season, well, which he won't, and enter a law career, passed 23 times, completed 15 for 264 yards, and he had 1 pass intercepted. So back then, that's like what? That's darn near like 66% completion percentage. Completed 15 passes for 264 yards. That's every time he completed a pass, it was well over 10, like about 15, 16 yards of pass completion. That's pretty good. And while we're hailing LeBaron, a word would be in order for those big bruisers up front: Will Renfro, Don Ball, Jim Schrader, Red Stevens, and Ray Lemek, all of whom gave Elegant Eddie the same protection Briggs would be expected to give to a carload of gold. Not once was LeBaron thrown for a loss. So adequate was the phalanx of white shirts in front of him. If LeBaron was the hero of the airways, then his teammate Dick James was the star of the Foot Patrol, the 175-pounder from Oregon, in addition to playing some at safety on defense, dominated the offense by gaining 102 yards in 117 carries. I think it's supposed to be 102 yards probably, I'm going to say 17 carries. He also managed to snag 3 passes with 26 yards and a touchdown. Johnny Olszewski, a former Cardinal now playing fullback for the Redskins, was second high ground gainer with 88 yards and 21 carries and 2 touchdowns. He also caught 2 passes for 10 yards. Both of Olszewski's scores came on short plunges over center. Wade unwittingly was cast in the role of a leader and performed good enough to win, but through circumstances beyond his control came away loser. As previously mentioned, Wade passed for 1 touchdown, scored once himself, and then had 2 touchdown passes to Del Schaffner called back because of penalties. One, a 59-yarder in the second period, was nullified when officials called a holding penalty. Again, in the same quarter, Wade hurled to Schaffner. This one good for a 50-yard touchdown, but once more, officials spoiled the act. This time they called clipping. Despite these adversities, Wade nevertheless managed to turn in a respectable performance. He passed 14 times and completed 11 for 170 yards. One of his tosses was intercepted, and his protection was not of the best. Twice he was thrown for losses. Arnett came up with a few thrills. In 7 carries, he produced 54 yards. His longest went for 19. He scored in the second period on a 14-yard gallop around left end. In addition, Arnett grabbed 4 passes for another 14 yards. Madsen, the fabulous runner the Rams gave up 9 players to obtain from the Cardinals, was held to only 32 yards in 7 carries. He was able to add 19 to his total by catching 2 passes. Soon after staking the Redskins to their 2-point lead, Don Burrows, Rams safety man, intercepted a LeBaron pass on his own 22. 8 plays later, the Rams were leading 7-2, and Wade nailed Schaffner with a 42-yard touchdown pass. So Del Schaffner darn near almost had 3 touchdown receptions in this game. Jack Morris followed with his first of 3 conversions. Early in the second quarter, after the Redskins went out in front again, taking over on their own 25, they had a touchdown 10 plays later when Olszewski plunged over from the 2. 2 LeBaron passes, one to Joe Walton for 18 yards and the other to Johnny Carson for 13, kept this drive percolating. Baker boosted the count when he towed the first of his 3 conversions. Back came the Rams in the second period, and in 6 plays traveled 83 yards, this touchdown being capped by Arnett's 14-yard sprint. Madsen kept the march alive by getting loose once for 16 yards. A Wade pitch of 25 yards to Lamar Lundy placed the ball in position for Arnett to carry it across. Now, it just goes to show you, because Lamar Lundy is more famously known for being part of the fearsome foursome defense up front. Well, in this game, he's catching passes from Billy Wade. He was tall, so I guess maybe, I don't know if he was maybe a tight end in this game. But the halftime ended with the Redskins leading 16-14, but not before LeBaron and company had put together a drive. Olszewski finally went no. All right, let's see. Some pictures here. All right, so we got John Arnett takes pass from Bill Wade for 8 yards. And John Arnett. This one, I guess the page here was ripped. Oh, maybe this might be Lamar Lundy right here. Oh, let's see. Catching a pass. Oh, it's going to be here. Lamar Lundy of the Rams is pass in hands, but it slips through and into grasp of Ben Scotty for an interception. There it is. There's the interception. Yep. He jumps up, grabs it, somehow, whatever. Gets the ball, I don't know, comes down, gets knocked out or whatever, and he intercepts it. Wow. Here we got Matson making Coliseum debut as a Ram, races for 8 yards. So the Rams gave up all these players for Ollie Matson. They thought he'd be like some type of savior. I mean, he was good, but apparently he wasn't worth 9 players. He didn't help much. Those 9 players really didn't help the Cardinals much either. Redskins John Carson tries to grab an end zone pass from Washington, touchdown on the last play of the first half. The ball gets away. Oh, it's right here. I don't know. It's right in front of him. But save. So there we go. Now, let's just read this here. Attendance at the Coliseum last night for the Times charity football game between the Rams and the Redskins was 85,888. It was the 4th largest turnout in the 14-year history of the exhibition series. The 1951 game drew a crowd of almost 96,000. Wow. There you go. Here's some stats here. All right. There's Russian right here. There's the passing. There's the pass receivers. All right. Over from the 2 after LeBaron had completed passes of 14, 27, and 14 to Walton, Carson, and James, respectively. The Redskins once threatened seriously in the third quarter, but were repulsed by an inspired Ram defense on the 1-yard line. Washington boosted its advantage to 23-14 in the final period, advancing 67 yards in 6 plays. LeBaron launched the attack by throwing 9 yards to Carson. He then found Walton to 39 more. LeBaron then personally ran for 8 yards, after which he lofted a 6-yard softie to James, who had completely fooled all the Ram pass defenders. Clinton Thomas' 25-yard kick return on the ensuing kickoff set up the Rams' final touchdown. Starting from the Washington 45, Wade hit Matson for 13, then found Jim Phillips for 31 more. Tom Wilson contributed 5, and then with the ball only a foot short of the goal line, Wade plunged over to conclude the scoring. And here's the, let's see, and okay, right in. Right in. Yeah, well, quarterback, yeah, no, I guess, yeah, so I guess he was an end. Lamar Lundy. Well, go figure. First victory. Coach Nixon presented souvenir ball by jubilant Redskin players. The Washington Redskins, jubilant as collegiates, winning the big one, gave Mike Nixon the souvenir ball last night after beating the Rams 23-21. It was his first victory as coach, and he was tickled. The boys played swell football, all of them, he commented. LeBaron is just the greatest, and I think he proved that again. James did a terrific job on offense, defense, and kick returns. Olszewski is a fine fullback always. Stevens, Ball, Lemick, and others really opened up some big holes for us. The Rams, I still say they'll win the Western Division title. They've got a fine ball club. Their backs pose all sorts of problems. Their defensive line dug in twice and stopped us on the goal. This game just meant a lot more to us. I think we tried a little harder. They used the same 5-1 defense as last year, giving us the middle to stop wide stuff. It worked last year. This time we were prepared for it, and that's why we punched straight ahead so well. Also, they weren't used to our unbalanced line. We concentrated on stopping Matson more than anybody else. The Redskin regulars played most of the game, so badly did Nixon want to win it before the big crowd. Because of injuries, quarterback Ralph the Googe and fullback Don Bosler didn't even suit up, leaving LeBaron and Olszewski to do Ironman stints. Nixon was asked why he didn't go for field goals on 2 occasions with 4 downs close up. I know Baker can kick them, he explained. What I wanted to find out in the preseason game was whether we can score inside the 5-yard line. LeBaron, flashing a wide grin, modestly called it one of his lucky nights and praised his teammates for the great pass protection he received. It was his opinions that the Redskins had great desire and played better together than he could ever remember. The Washington squad emerged without serious injuries and will head home by plane this forenoon. Now, here we go. Here's this. The Colts swamped the Giants 28-3. All right. So then we got one more here. We got the Los Angeles Mirror. Ooh, there you go. All right. So let's go to the August 22nd edition. The Los Angeles Mirror. Mirror, mirror on the wall. Okay, here we go. James packs the mail, and it takes trio of Rams to stop him. Dick James, who wound up one of the Redskins' biggest heroes in a win last night, rambles for yardage on a handoff from Eddie LeBaron. Here's Eddie right there. Whoops. All right. Rams are sloppy in defeat. And here's the stats once again. The Rams, after 13 years in town, are what might be called a deep-rooted football club, and last night they played just that way. They were rooted to the ground and couldn't move very much in any direction. The result was Washington's Redskins 23, Los Angeles 21. A crowd of 85,888. The Times Charities game fans came away greatly disappointed in Sid Gilman's men, but highly impressed with the play of Mike Nixon's Redskins, who dominated the game most of the way and could have won by 6 additional points had Nixon chosen to go for 2 easy field goals. Yes, actually, they could have won by at least 8 points, but the best thing that can be said for the Rams is that Del Shofter they still have, and last night did have, one terrific football player, and that there is room for improvement. Oh, yes, one more thing. The defeat doesn't count in the league standings, and maybe that's the most important item of all. The Ram team looks and acts like a ponderous jigsaw puzzle that has not yet been fitted together, but which may make a pretty picture when at last it is. It has all the elements of a time bomb with a delayed fuse, and when it finally goes off, there may be a terrific explosion. Now they had some good players, no doubt about that. Here's the deciding play, I guess. Here's the play that made the difference. Ralph Felton of the Redskins traps John Arnett in the Rams end zone for a safety in the first quarter. So this is it right here. He fumbled the ball, but they thought it might be incomplete at the time, because maybe he didn't hold it long enough, but apparently the refs thought he did hold the ball long enough, and so that this was the deciding play. This turned into a safety. Those who seek solace in patterns of the past, hoping to protect these patterns into the future today, may find balm, maybe another delayed balm, in the knowledge that of the 4 Los Angeles Rams clubs that have won Western Division championships, 3 lost the Times game to the Washington Redskins. There you go. A note of caution, however, as this writer has suggested before now, Ram personnel, except for a few spectacular individuals in key roles, is vastly overrated. More about that in a future column. The Rams had 2 spectacular touchdown passes called back. Called back. There you go, yep. Madison gains 8 in the first quarter. Ollie Madison making his local Ram debut, wheels off 8 yards in the first quarter. Rams sloppy and lost to the Skins. But both long used a special delivery Schaffner, but on one of these they went on to score anyway. Thus, penalties actually cost them 1 touchdown, while Nixon's generosity in not going for field goals cost the Skins 6. Thus, at maximum potential as seen last night, the best the Rams could have done was to finish 1 point closer at 29-28. The game's victory margin was contributed by a Ram miscue when the game was only 5 minutes, 35 seconds old. A screen pass that went haywire. Bill Wade to John Arnett, found Arnett tackled in the end zone by Ralph Felton. Arnett fumbled when hit, and he did not advance the ball as far as the goal line before it went out. He got hit, and you see the ball that was on the ground there in the picture. Apparently, it went out of bounds. Safety, right? I guess went out of bounds, but I guess maybe in the end zone, I guess. These were the fatal 2 points. Schaffner caught a pass from Wade on the Redskin 23-yard line for a 42-yard touchdown to put the Rams ahead before the quarter ended. 2 15-yard penalties apiece slapped on Ollie Matson and Bob Fry for holding and or clipping nullified long Ram gains. On one of these, Schaffner caught a 59-yarder from Wade for a TD, and on another, Wade passed to Schaffner for 50 yards in a TD that was called back. So actually, you could look at it without the penalty. The Rams could have maybe possibly 14 additional points. But Schaffner was by far the best Ram player on the field. It just goes to show you that a couple years later, he winds up getting traded to the Giants. And he does very well for himself. Very, very well. So, anyway. Schaffner was by far the best Ram player on the field. Stars of the game were Washington's versatile Dick James, fullback Johnny Olszewski, quarterback Eddie LeBaron, and those big blockers on the line, Don Ball, Ray LeMec, Red Stevens, and Will Renfro, who tore Ram defensive tackles apart except in 2 magnificent goal line stands. Rams defense was full of holes. These blockers shot the works at John Baker, George Struger, and John Lovetier. The linebackers were unable to plug the gaps as the Redskin offense charged in between Baker, Lovetier, and Gene Brito on one side and between Struger and Lou Michaels on the other. Behind them came Johnny O, or James, in the headlong rushes that ran up more than 200 yards rushing. Olszewski made some astonishing gains right up dead center. Ram tackles were virtually non-existent except in the goal line stands, and the ends were no better, not even Brito. LeBaron was never touched by a pass rush all night as he completed 15 of 23 passes with 264 yards. Nixon explained his failure to go for the short field goals. I know Sam Baker can kick field goals. I wanted to find out if we could score from within the 5-yard line. All I found out was that down there the Rams have one hell of a line. If it had been a league game, we would have kicked. Matson in his home debut as a Ram left much to be desired. He gained only 28 yards and 7 carries and fought viciously for more, but he was not the world beater the fans had been led to expect. Surely Ollie would be better than this in games to come. Also, I think in the other one, I said they had like 7 carries or so for like 32 yards. So James was the player of the game. Arnett, however, showed all his old flash and ability to get away from tacklers as he rolled for 54 yards rushing and caught 4 passes. Tom Wilson gained 52 yards and caught 1 pass. The dream backfield still is only that, a dream that has not yet come true. Nixon gave Rams fans food to live on when he said the local team is much better than the 49ers who beat him last Sunday. Gilman merely said his whole team played a lousy game while the Redskins played a very good one. The Skins gave Nixon the game ball. Had it gone to a player, I think James should have had it. The Oregon boy gained 102 yards rushing, caught a touchdown pass, ran back both punts and kickoffs, and while playing left safety on defense, made several important tackles, including one that stopped Arnett on a 1-yard line when the Rams were driving for a touchdown, which they later scored. Wow, so they got guys, playing offense, and the same guys are playing on defense. They're playing special teams. I mean, it just really, it's amazing. What they had to do back then. Simply amazing. As I said, most teams in 1959 played 6 preseason games. A couple played 7. And that's out of the 6, I mean, sometimes the starters who would start during the regular season played like the whole game, which is just like, it just doesn't happen nowadays. One of the things that I've heard that does happen a lot, or like old players maybe from the past talking about, is that you got to get in there and you got to play. They're like babying the guys nowadays. They don't want to put them in too much because they might get hurt or whatever. And when you're paying somebody maybe $10, $20, $30 million a year and they get hurt, it falls back on like the coach. What do you got them in there for? Well, that wasn't the case back in the day. Back then, I mean, some of these guys, it was a football game. They played the whole time, whether you're a starter or not. It is what it is. But a lot of guys that just listen to a lot of guys talk, a lot of the old veterans and all, think that you need to play to get your body ready for battle during the regular season. A lot of these guys nowadays who hardly participate at all in the preseason are just ripe to get injured because it's like a boxer getting ready for a boxing match. Well, you got to do sparring. You got to hit. You got to be hit to prepare yourself for battle. Well, it's with a lot of these veteran players, I mean, from the past, you got to play to prepare your body for battle. I mean, if you just bubble wrapping them and you play a couple drives and we'll bubble wrap you for a couple weeks and maybe we'll put you in the last preseason game, maybe for a quarter, we'll pull you. I mean, you're not really preparing the guys for battle. So, but times have changed. Times have certainly changed and all, but. That was a very big game. I mean, obviously for charity. So apparently the Redskins and the Rams have been playing this charity game for quite some time, and therefore that's why there was almost 86,000 people there, just a sea of people. But the Redskins will come out on top. But I mean, as I showed you, 2 just disappointing seasons for both teams. Just very, very disappointing. So that's the way it was on this date, Friday night, August 21st, 1959, between the Washington Redskins and the Los Angeles Rams in the Memorial Coliseum. That was just an exhibition game in pro football's first 50 years. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.